Listen to me very carefully. At the turn of the century, after the panic at the Millennium Bug, Jar Jar Binks in Windows 98, the geeks inherited the Earth. I've been sent into the past with one mission: to save the world from inferior podcasts. There is now only one possible future. It is NOMCAST. Come with me if you want to geek. Hasta la vista, baby!
Hello and welcome to a very late episode of NOMCAST. If you're listening to this as we're going, then I'm really sorry that we've been away for a few weeks. If you're listening to this and catching up on previous episodes, then hey, we missed you for the last 5 minutes. So here we are now on episode... What episode are we on? Is it 6?
5 or 6, isn't it?
Is it 5? Okay. Here we are on episode of NOMCAST. And tonight, with me, as always, are Lisa Hicks.
Hello.
Nancy Petru.
Howdy.
And to kick proceedings off is Mr. Mark Newbold.
Hello, ha.
So, and I'm Jonathan Hicks. I don't think I ever mentioned who I am, actually, do I? During all this? No, I don't. Well, I'm Jonathan Hicks. So, Mark, it's been an interesting few weeks. We've not really talked. There's obviously lots to catch up on. So What is it that you want to talk about this evening? And we're starting with a new format. You have 15 minutes, starting now.
I love it. I like being on the clock. My subject tonight is, and I was struggling to think of a topic. I wanted to talk about the new decision for DC to release a whole spate of titles laid out in advance for the next 30,000 years, like Marvel seem to want to do but never quite manage. So DC have announced a whole bunch of titles, and one of the things that has come up in the media, especially sort of the inverted commas geek media that we sort of all inhabit, is the fact that unlike Marvel so far, DC have lead actors with people of colour, lead actors with female characters. You know, there's a Wonder Woman film, there's an Aquaman film with Jason Momoa. You know, there's a whole bunch of diverse, let's use that word, diverse lead actors and actresses taking charge of DC movies, whereas Marvel, so far, for the majority, have white guys called Chris as their lead actor. Now, my point, I'm going to get on my little, not a soapbox, it's just an opinion. It's just where I sit on the fence, and John knows better than anybody. I almost always sit on the fence. I am not the most opinionated person in the world. I can see both sides to pretty much everything. So my thoughts initially, good on DC. That's great. Make the best films that you can. The bottom line is to make the best films that you can. I think Marvel have led with their strongest characters, and in terms of comic book sales and public awareness, they're probably doing the right thing in terms, and I'm speaking as imagine I'm a Marvel executive and I'm looking at the box office and I'm looking at the merchandise and I'm looking at what sells, and I don't want another box office catastrophe like Steel or like Catwoman, or, you know, they want to keep this great ball rolling. DC are coming out of the blocks. You know, they've had the Batman saga, but that's kind of been put to one side. They had Man of Steel. They're kind of playing off the back of that with Batman vs Superman, leading into Justice League 2 movies. My question is, are DC doing the right thing, or are Marvel doing the right thing? Who's playing it best? And from which angle do you want to look at it? You know, box office, doing the right thing by putting different people in different roles. How do you view it? I will start with Nancy. I'm asking the question.
Well, I think it kind of depends, like you said, what criteria you're going to judge it by. Because, I mean, if you're just going through, obviously, who's made the most money, if that's successful, it's obvious who's won that. But I don't think money in the end will really be the determiner for who approached, you know, their library of characters the best. Marvel seems to have started out well, although I 100% agree with you. They started with, except for Guardians of the Galaxy, which was, you know, an odd choice, but that worked out very well, right? But they have led with their strongest, most famous characters, so now it's sort of like the onus is on them to continue to produce incredible stuff, but now they're kind of reaching for the back catalog of characters. So yeah, that I wouldn't mind seeing like the new Miss Marvel. That would be really awesome, but I don't know. I think DC is actually in a much better place than Marvel because they've stumbled a lot, and they kind of have templates from Marvel about the things that are good and things that work for audiences and fans, and things that kind of don't or could be better. And, you know, DC has screwed up quite a bit in that area, just in terms of we're talking about films, right? Is that what you're just...
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they're in a good position to really, like, come out strong and then be just as successful monetarily as well, and with fans who are DC fans who are dying, like Lisa, right? For a lot of characters to really, like, have their due and not just be stuck in the comic book, which is great, but I mean, that's kind of how you grow more fans. Like, I did read an article about a bunch of young Muslim girls who really identify with the new Ms. Marvel, Kamala Khan, who is Muslim, and she's struggling to, like, be a superhero but also honor her traditions. And I thought that was really cool. You're getting these girls into something that they would have never been into otherwise unless they'd had a parallel of themselves. So that's pretty cool. I don't know as much about DC. I know a little bit more about Marvel, but I think in terms of, like, success, I think, like you said, DC's come out of the blocks. They're in a good position as long as they don't screw it up. And I think the screw up comes from, I guess, being too tight with what the characters are. I don't mean be, like, out of character. I just mean, like, take a chance. Like, the Guardians of the Galaxy looked absurd. I know so many people were like, what the hell is that? I don't even know anything about that. But it took a chance, and it was really good. Yeah. So I think maybe DC needs to kind of approach some of their characters that maybe aren't as well known in the same manner.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point, because I think Marvel have got a style. They're in a groove, and even Guardians, which seemed like really left of centre, still worked into that Marvel style. And Marvel have always done comics in that respect. Marvel have got a style, so that's their thing. DC has always been a little bit more eclectic, I would say. But I think in terms of the films, Marvel have absolutely got it rolling, but they are going to have to change it up pretty soon. Otherwise, it's going to get a third act space battle. That needs to change, because that is getting boring. But I think DC, I'm halfway through watching Green Lantern. And I used to collect Green Lantern back in the 80s, when after the Crisis and all that sort of stuff. So I like Green Lantern. I'm reasonably familiar with it, going way back. I've not read it for years. I think the phrase I used on Twitter last night was, "My God, isn't this film the drizzling shits?" It was, and somebody came along and said, "Is that a good thing or a bad thing?" I says, "Well, you figure it." I was not impressed. So, whereas Marvel so far, post Iron Man, and Iron Man wasn't a huge. I mean, he was a big character, but he wasn't like a. Okay, they haven't got Spider-Man, well, yet. But I mean, the main characters, you would say X-Men, obviously, over at Fox, and Spider-Man over at Sony. You would say they're Marvel's main characters. I'm talking about Marvel Comics Group, as opposed to Marvel Studios. But like you say, they've pushed their premier teams right up the front. DC, I think, has got a lot of catching up to do, but they've definitely got the characters to do it. Bat Hobbit 78. Tell me, being an expert, what do you think?
Our resident DC experts.
Yes.
I genuinely think that Marvel have peaked, and good. That's it. No, I genuinely think they've peaked. I think people are going to get sick of Avengers soon anyway. And I think it's good that we've got some time to look forward to the new films that are coming out. I've seen the lineup. The ones that have been put out on the internet isn't actually 100% correct. But we've got some good films coming out. And as far as going for lower known comic book characters and pushing them at the front, I think you can't get more lower known than Shazam, really. He pops up every now and then on a Justice League cartoon or a Teen Titans cartoon. They've even started including him in the Tiny Titans runs now.
Yeah.
So, I think that's going to be... I'm so excited for that film, it's unbelievable. It's good so that other people can get to know exactly why Shazam as a character is so exciting.
Yeah.
And they've started to invest in films that you wouldn't... The thing is, people are saying, oh, good, DC, it's good to see them. But DC have always been there. That we have got our hooks on comic book franchises that you would never know were ours. And, it's just always been there. Not unlike Marvel, who tend to put when you see a Marvel, the first thing you see is the flicking icon that says Marvel. Otherwise, you wouldn't know that was a Marvel. DC are responsible for a lot of things that are on TV, that have been on TV. And I think TV is the future. People, there's only less films that have been given the big budget that they need. And I think DC figured out that their things work well on a small screen.
Yeah.
That with the actors' revival of returning to the TV, you get more and more big name actors. Ian McKellen started it off, returning to the TV. Mm-hmm. I mean, you've got George Clooney in Downton Abbey this year.
Yeah.
Everyone's returned back to the TV, and I'm sorry, but Gotham, the TV show, that made me cry. It was that fabulous.
Really?
Yeah. It was. It really got it for me.
Oh,
there was everybody was saying, let's say that Alfred, Alfred was the one exception, but they're saying, you put too many characters in the first thing. So what? It was something for the fans. It's not going to happen every week. It's not going to happen all the time, but it's something for the fans, because all the Easter eggs that I kept saying, I was getting excited, saying, it's like they made it for me. I liked it. Mm-hmm. I've got, you're going to get haters out there. I'm tired of the haters. Oh my God. Marvel can't have everything. I'm sick of them thinking that they can. And I'm good. This time Marvel's, they've got to realise that they're not the only ones out there now. And it's nice. I think they've peaked. I'm absolutely bored with Iron Man. I can't stand it. I haven't even seen the second Captain America, and I'm not going to.
Really?
Yeah, no way. It's not going to happen for me. I'm bored.
Lisa.
I can't. There's only so much red, white and blue I can take. I'm not doing it.
That's why I'm not a massive fan of Wonder Woman.
No, I'm not doing it.
I know.
No,
I'm very much looking.
I don't feel that I could relate to Captain America.
I just think that's wrong. We've had that argument before.
We have, and I'm just saying. Well, then that's marketing. Then they need to change it to Captain Bob.
I've got to say, with the Winter Soldier, and they are leading up to Civil War, and it seems to be happening in Captain America 3, and Captain America is the anti-establishment guy. Tony Stark is the establishment guy. It's a twist that was brilliant. So I know what you're saying about DC. I mean, going back to I was earlier on looking at my Lewis and Clark DVD set, and they had that, and they had Superboy not long before. They had Birds of Prey, which never really went anywhere. But, DC have had, and obviously Smallville for 10 years, they've had shows continuously. And now you've got, obviously, Arrow, Flash, Gotham, which I hate to say I thought was crap. And Constantine, which I can't wait to start. I'm really looking forward to Constantine. Even though it was not a Scouser. Should have been a Scouser. They've not done him as a Scouser, but there you go. They seem to have the run of it. I've watched a little bit of the late season 1 Shield, which I quite enjoyed, but I think Marvel TV, animated's probably where their strength lies. Like DC animated has always been strong. Marvel live action, I don't think it is. So I think DC are definitely going to run a bit on television. But yeah, let's see. I'm excited. It's always been the two, DC versus Marvel, back in the comics, back to the 60s. They've always been at each other. The two big houses, and I think it's the same now in media. So, Mr. Hicks, what do you think?
I think Marvel's nailed it as far as movies are concerned. They really know how to put on a spectacle, but I think that DC have really scored big with their TV shows. I kind of got the impression it was probably the same in the comics as well. The comics that I used to collect with Marvel, with the one-shots, the little 4 or 5 or 6 episode one-shots, which are like really big stories, big characters, like all Secret Wars, you know what I mean? I wasn't really that interested in the ongoing stories. Whereas in DC, I always was, and I think that's what's translated over. Marvel's making the big movies, and they're doing really well, and they're big and they're huge, and they're firework displays, and they are great fun. But DC belongs on the TV because they've got a longer story, a more sort of detailed story to tell. And I think that's where it's kept. Because I really don't like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I find it a little bit insipid, and I do find it extremely scaled down. It's like you've watched the Avengers, you've watched the helijet, the helicarrier, you've watched the invasion of New York, and now they've done like a smaller version of Avengers with one aeroplane, with a couple of cars and a bunch of people, a bunch of characters that I can't even relate to, no matter what. The only character I can relate to is Coulson, and I got bored halfway through the first season. Why is he alive? I don't care anymore, because I don't care about anybody else on the screen. Yeah. And it was just frustrating. It really was. I really wanted to enjoy it. And it was like, Yeah, have a bit of Marvel on the TV. No, Marvel's not built for the TV. Marvel's built for spectacle. DC's built for TV because they've got much more in-depth, relatable, and enjoyable characters. So, but that's the way I see it. Now, I think DC's really knocked it out of the park this last couple of years. I really enjoyed the Batman trilogy, Christopher Nolan's one. The last film I wasn't overly hot on, but it was still a bloody good film. It should have been a lot less man and a bit more bat. But the Man of Steel, I absolutely... That was my movie of the year that year. I thought it was just fantastic. And then that got me thinking, if DC are coming back with this kind of quality to rival what Marvel are doing, like DC's like the not the darker, but they're probably the bit more intense version of superheroes.
Yeah.
Then I am looking forward to Batman and Superman and whoever else they're throwing out there. I am looking forward to it. I've always been I've always been more Marvel than DC. That much everybody knows that.
Yeah.
But at the moment, DC's nailing it for me on the television. I love Arrow. I really enjoy Gotham. I thought it was absolutely brilliant, and I'm really looking forward to Constantine and the Flash as well. I'm looking forward to seeing that.
I'm really
as well.
looking forward to Flash.
Yeah, so that's going to be really good.
Yeah.
But I want Marvel to stay away from the TV because I just think that their TV show. I know Joss Whedon, look, not everything he touches turns to gold. Yeah. And I'm sorry, but I did find it extremely. Well, it was crap.
Tedious.
It was tedious.
Yeah.
All these after watching what happened in New York and all the big films, in like 5 or 6 massive films, then expect to sit down and watch these little tedious stories about a bunch of people I don't even care about. It's like, no, you wanted me to watch it because it's got Marvel in the title, and I'm sorry, I'm not interested. I'll be honest, and there's people out there who enjoy it, and that's absolutely fine. But I was quite surprised it got a second series. I'm not going to lie. I'm surprised it even got through its first series. I was hoping that they'd do a Firefly on it and then put all their efforts back into the movies. Oh, and just talking about Firefly, it's been gone 10 years. It was okay when it was out, but it doesn't exist anymore. Please get over it.
We don't need Firefly anymore. We've got Star Wars Rebels. Star Wars Rebels is Firefly now, so we don't need Firefly.
If you want science fiction, westerns in space, for God's sake, somebody make a Strontium Dog TV show.
Yes.
Do it properly.
Yes. Agreed.
Well, and they can't recapture the magic. You don't even try. Like, it's been too long. It doesn't matter if everybody came back. It wouldn't be the same. It just wouldn't be the same. Then you'd ruin it.
And they've all got jobs of their own now. What are you going to do? You're going to cancel all these other TV show productions just so that you can have your favourite show back. Sorry, no.
Right.
I enjoyed Firefly. It was good fun. But it didn't last. It's over. Honestly, please.
They should have done what the plan was when Universal bought the rights and made Serenity. The plan was to make a trilogy at costing like 40 million a film, which even then was low budget. And they should have done it because, I mean, let's face it, 2005, film 2005 voted, or Radio Times voted Serenity the film of the year out of everything. So that film absolutely nailed it. And it was a nice coda for the series, but they should have done more. And they didn't. They left it. You're absolutely right. Move on.
I think it's been too long. I understand that it's got its fans, and I completely appreciate it. But I'm getting a bit tired of these online rants. Oh, it didn't have its chance. No, it had its chance. It failed. Yeah. I'm sorry. I don't think all those execs just sat there and thought, oh no, we're going to screw this over on purpose, whilst twiddling their, wearing stovepipe hats, twiddling their evil moustaches, saying, Joss Whedon, he's going to pay for being successful. You know what I mean? I don't think that happened.
The problem with that show is that they put it on Fox instead of putting it on CW or whatever, because the lowest ever rated Firefly episode was higher rating than the highest ever Buffy or Angel. It was on the wrong network. That's what they did wrong. They should have put it on a different network. Just to come back briefly, because I know my time's nearly up. Just to come back briefly.
Actually, your time was up 2 minutes ago. I'm sorry.
Oh, well, I'm going to finish anyway. You make a really good point about Marvel and DC, because Marvel had the first miniseries, Contest of Champions, which is kind of coming back as an online game, I think now. And then Secret Wars, which was like monstrously big for miniseries back in the 80s. And then DC did The Crisis, which was a clearinghouse project which really worked really well. So they've both been, within a couple of years, have been doing the same sort of things with their big storylines. I think Marvel, I always think, is more like Star Wars, and DC is more like Trek, in that Trek has always been more character based, which is why I think DC stuff works well on television, because it's more episodic and more almost in the nicest way a soap opera, whereas Marvel isn't. The only Marvel ones that really do that to that degree properly, I would say, are X-Men and Spider-Man. I think they're both in the right place, but I think Lisa's right. I think DC is set. It's theirs to fail. They balls it up. It's on their own heads this time. Marvel will just keep doing what Marvel does. I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy, like Nancy says, thinking outside the box, it's the third biggest hit worldwide that Marvel have ever had. There's only Iron Man 3 and Avengers took more money. So, they're still right in the middle of their sort of hot streak. So, but DC's got to get the engine going pretty damn quick. And that's me done. Thank you very much.
Okay, there you go. Well, Mark, thanks for coming. Where are you off to anyway?
It's nearly 9:30. I am interviewing Jeremy Bullock at 9:30 for our first anniversary episode of Radio 1138. So it was the only time we could get him. He's just took his grandkids out for pizza, so hopefully he'll be at his computer now. So
you'll load us off then to go and interview Boba Fett. Is that what you're saying?
Pretty much.
Thank you very much for that, Mark.
All right.
Thank you very much indeed. Screw you.
Thank you.
Okay, see you soon.
I can feel the finger from here. I'll catch you later.
I beg your pardon.
Bye.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Okay, see you soon, Mark.
See you later.
Thanks for coming.
Bye.
And there goes Mark Newbold. I'll miss him. No, I won't. Right, okay. Let's move over then to our next topic. So, Lisa, the next topic is now on to you. What have you got for us this evening?
It's not really a topic, really. It's just we haven't had a chat for a long while, actually.
No?
Just what I've been up to, really.
Go for it.
What I've been into. I don't know, really. It's only been really two things, to be honest. I've got back into, since I was doing, I don't know, those who know me know that I do a lot of work on occult research and things like that. And doing some research into Enochian symbols, I got back into Supernatural, the TV show. I left it at season 7 because I don't know why. Why did we stop watching it? I think it was because we bought the box set.
We were buying the box
We
sets.
were late to it.
Yeah.
And then we kind of caught up.
We caught up to the end of season 5, I think we got to.
Yeah.
And then there wasn't another box set, and it wasn't on TV. So we thought, well, hang on and wait for the next one. And then it just didn't materialise, and then we kind of moved on to something else. So.
Yeah, so just I've been catching up on that, and I don't know whether that is because I left it, but coming back to it, I was saying the other day, it's like a book I can't put down.
Mm.
It's so well written now. It's like they've got rid of whatever it was in the first. I mean, it was good, but they got rid of that team now, and they've come in with a more mature writer now.
Mm.
And it's not as young based as it was.
Yeah, I kind of got the impression when it first came out, it was kind of you know when Buffy was out, and that was kind of more aimed towards the teens, and that kind of grew as the show did. Whereas Angel was more aimed towards sort of the adults, and it was a bit more adult orientated. I saw Supernatural as something in between the two, and then as it went on, it got a bit more gorier, and then it got a bit more sort of aimed towards the old demographic.
Gory
and now, I watched a few episodes last week.
There's no
and I'm watching,
hold
I'm thinking, hang on a second.
Yeah.
What time's this? What time's Nancy? You might know this. What time does Supernatural go out in America?
Like when do the new episodes air?
Yeah. Well, what time do they air?
9.
Is it 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock?
It is probably 9 o'clock, I would say.
Yeah. Do you have
8
a
or
watershed?
9.
Do you have a watershed over there?
Well, so I did probably watch about half of the first season on Netflix.
Yeah.
Probably a couple summers ago, because I just figured I was doing a lot of like browsing on Tumblr and trying to like figure out what that was. Makes me sound old, even though I'm not old, but it made me feel that way. So I wanted to know what it was. And basically, there are like 5 or 6 like holy fandoms on Tumblr, and that is one of them. And that's the only one that I hadn't partaken. You know, like there's BBC Sherlock, like Doctor Who, that kind of stuff. So I was like, okay, I'll probably like Supernatural. And then I saw someone say that it was like an homage to the X-Files, which is my favorite show of all time ever. Yeah. And I was like, oh man, okay, I have to check it out. Yeah. Right? Okay, so I was totally getting that vibe from the first few episodes. I'm like, this is great. Yeah. Like, why did I not watch this? I have so many episodes to catch up on. This is wonderful. I got sidetracked for a little bit, and I couldn't get back to it. But then, like, I guess I encountered, the dark side of the fandom that every fandom has.
Yeah.
But you know what? Shipping is usually not like an issue for me. But I felt like, though? It felt like that was the only content being made. Was like ships between. I don't even know who Castiel is, but now I do, because I haven't seen him in the show. Right? It's probably a few seasons before we meet him or something.
He's a brilliant character.
I know that people really want Dean and Cass together because I've seen incredible and horribly explicit fan art.
Young girls can't understand the relationship between a man and a man. It has to be sexual.
Okay, I would totally agree with that. I think that is my pet peeve.
They are best friends. They are like, he has a brother. The show is about 2 brothers. Right. He has a brother, but his relationship with Castiel, I'll give you a bit of a background on it. The first season is hard to get into unless you're watching it back to back, because you know, you have the story, but what they do on every season, the first 8 or 9 episodes, is them doing an X-Files thing where they go out and it's a different case each week. Nothing is linked. Then, bam, you're back in the storyline and it hits it hard for the rest of the season. And it's good, right? So it kind of gets you away from the storyline and it gets back. Cass came into it, I think, at the end of season 2, where they decided that if there's demons, there has to be angels. So they brought in Castiel was an angel. And basically, all of the others, their term for humans was mud monkey. So the angels, I mean, let's not forget that there was a civil war, which is heaven, which, you know, gave you heaven and hell. So that's what it's all about, the civil war.
That sounds really cool.
It is. They hate us because they think that they're better than us and that we're just fodder. That's the angels. They're not very nice, actually. Heaven is
that actually makes a lot of sense.
and the demons just see us as meat suits.
Yay!
And so you know, the whole thing is about who will take over this domain, because they need more space, basically. So Castiel kind of grows attached to Sam and Dean, and even though he shouldn't be helping them, he does. But he seems like he's the only angel who's like, wait a minute, where's Dad? Anyone see God? When was the last time we saw God?
That's funny.
And so Cass, he goes on a pilgrimage to try and find him, and then when he can't find him, he becomes so consumed, he thinks he is God.
Ooh.
And he turns, and in such a way.
Sorry, do you put a spoiler warning up for this?
Oh,
no,
man.
Come on, Supernatural's old now. Come on. But I'm just saying,
I mean, you've made it way more enticing.
Well, I haven't given you all of the details. So, you know, that's not... Once you watch it, you think, oh, that's what she means. But you feel the loss of that character.
Cool.
Because he was kind of the character that sat in the back of the car every week. He came and went and go whenever he wanted. He just turned up. And he was just there in the back seat. You know, he could find them wherever they were. And you kind of miss that, and he's deadpan, you know. And when he comes back in season, you know, he does. You feel that he's lost, but you deal with there's a character there called Bobby, who's like the head hunter, and he kind of keeps the boys in check, and he raised them when their dad died. And you know, you just feel the loss of the really well written characters, and it's you really get attached to them, and it's like Castiel's back now, and what they had to go through. Dean's just spent a year in purgatory, and you find out just what purgatory is. It's not like Lost, you know, you're stuck on an island. Is
it like New
horrible.
Jersey?
No, it's horrible.
I don't even know why I made the New Jersey joke. It's just that every time somebody talks about hell or purgatory or something nasty, somebody always says, "Oh, is it like New Jersey?" I've never been to New Jersey. I've absolutely no idea what it's like. So that was a joke for the Americans.
I've only been in Newark, the airport, and that was like an armpit. It was terrible. So,
what, the airport or the whole of Newark?
You know what? I've only been in the airport and out to the cab, so I don't know. I don't want to blanket judge New Jersey.
Can right now? Can I just say goodbye to all the Newark and New Jersey listeners? Thanks for coming. It was nice. It was nice that you spent a little bit of time with us.
But as a person who lives somewhere that is often vilified, Texas, I understand how you feel.
Sorry,
well, you've convinced me I'm going to keep watching that. I just kind of got busy with other stuff. But I just wanted to make sure that now that you've said that the writing has held up, that really makes me want to watch it. Because I was worried all of the slashing stuff was coming from just like shitty writing.
Ignore that. I don't know where they get that from. This is the thing.
I think it's what you said. The idea that two men could have like a platonic relationship, like friendship with each other, is just, I mean, it's like extinct. It's like a unicorn.
But it's like, this is what I'm saying. Cass is, the way that he parted with them at the end of season 6, I think it was season 6, was not very nice. But Dean knows that it wasn't Cass. So he's kind of like let him pass, but knowing that, he did a bad thing, but he would take him back because he misses him. As a friend, as something stronger than I think than what he has with Sam. So that in purgatory, him and angels don't end up in purgatory, but they ended up there. And, you know, so he had a big shining light on him, but Dean stuck with him, and he said, I'm going to get you out. But, you know, Cass felt, I've got to do penance, I need to stay in here. And Dean blanked that out as though Cass wasn't trying very hard. And he completely forgot that Cass said that he didn't want to come back with him. So, and that really hit him hard. So for a whole season, you wondered there was something wrong with Dean. And it was because of that. And he really missed him, I think. So, because Sam as a character, I can't get on with.
Well, it's funny that all this stuff you've said, it is touching on things that I know I, like, kind of saw, I guess, as I was browsing or trying to understand, like, what the show was about. All the stuff that you've... I'm sure that I still won't be spoiled. I won't remember. But,
I don't know if you remember, John, but the way that Castiel came into the show was just amazing.
You were just completely unsure about it.
You cannot... No, the way that he entered, his entrance, you cannot physically gaze upon an angel.
Yeah.
Because if you do, it burns out your eyeballs and your brain.
Yeah.
That is
and
so
that's
cool.
how he comes in. That's how he comes in. Just this woman's eyes.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. And you knew that you was in. He's just fabulous.
Oh, man. I know what I'm doing tomorrow morning before work.
What, burning out some of his eyes? That's a bit weird.
The important thing is that they nail the lore.
Yeah, the lore of it actually is really good. I mean, they've made a few twerks. What the hell am I talking about? They made a few tweaks. They made a few weird dances. They made a few tweaks with it to suit their own, to suit their show. But everything you recognise, everything, the lore of it is just absolutely brilliant, and it stands up as well. It's really, really good, and it all fits in. Yeah, you know what I mean?
You know, they can the way that it's. You normally, when it runs for that long, the writing gets crap. But this has really stood up. I mean, they've even the way that they've even brought in new characters at the fact season 7, where you've already got dedicated fans. They've brought in new characters that you're already attached to, like Garth. You know, the new hunter that's played by the bloke from Dodgeball. Oh, the skinny guy.
Skinny guy with the big nose. I can't remember what his name is.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, but he's really cool anyway.
He's come in and he's kind of like, I want to be the new Bobby. You know, he taught me things, and I know things, and every time he turns up dressed as something different. When they turn up as FBI agents to pretend, he turns up as a Texas Ranger. So he's the quirkiness in it, but it's, you know, you attach yourself to these new characters because the writing is so good. And, you know, McG, how long has he been writing? He has some good shows under his belt, and he's still going. I mean, they're starting season 10 now. Supernatural.
His TV shows are definitely better than his movies.
Oh, damn it. That means I have a lot to catch up on. Oh.
Well, yeah, but you know what? When you get into it flies. I mean, I'm halfway through season 8 now.
Is this something that you think I should make my significant other? Like, should I sit him down and just watch a couple of it? I thought
me and John bought all the box sets, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
All of the box sets.
It's one of those shows, yeah, you sit down. We did the same with... what we were watching, it was Stargate Atlantis, and they were showing them back to back on British television. And it was on satellite television, and they were showing 2 episodes a day, and we were recording them. So of an evening, because of course Bruce was still very young, so we were completely knackered of a night time after putting him to bed. So of an evening, we were sitting down watching 2 episodes of Atlantis, and then watching what we had on DVD with Supernatural. We were absolutely, completely ODing on genre shows. It was absolutely fantastic.
Sounds great.
No, Supernatural, no. Really, really good. I'm a bit miffed that I missed out on so much, actually, because I've watched the first 5 episodes. And then I've kind of slipped back in and watching the odd episode as Lisa's watching them now. But I really want to sit down. I'm sure it was in the episode of season 5. I really want to sit down, probably watch the last few episodes of season 5, just to reorientate myself. And then start watching it again and try and get back into it. It is really good.
Even like thinking, even when you're talking about it, you're thinking of all of the good things that they've written in it. Like they've got prophets, but the prophets are people like you and me. That the way that they've written them into the show is brilliant. I mean, Kevin Tran, right now, you know, he's going through it. He was meant to be sitting down for his exams, and you know, it turns out he's a prophet.
Turns out
his actual title was I Am the Voice of God.
Yeah.
So he translates everything, you know, and demons want him for it. It's brilliant. Everything about it. The prophets, you've got, you know.
Cool. Everything. Wow, that is a good sell. Good job, Lisa.
It's different because, you know, they're not saying, you know, they came under a lot of fire for saying, you know, you can't take me out of heaven. you know, but they've not taken the mick out of it. They've said it's not a squeaky clean place. In fact, Amanda Tapping just turned up. She's in charge of heaven. Yeah. So, and you even had, what's her name? The girl from the guild.
Tapping.
The guild in it. What's her name? It's Felicia Day.
Yeah.
She just turned
up.
She just turned up as a geek girl hacker, and she was a lesbian. So
see, that's what I like.
Refreshing.
I figured the reason why it was drawing so much flack too was probably that it had a lot of like great representation from a variety of areas, and you know, anytime something does that, people get their feathers ruffled.
The thing is, no matter what you
ruffled.
Yeah, that's about right. Well, you are in Texas. Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, you're a rustler. Hang on a second. I think Mark might be coming back.
Oh,
no,
that was quick.
No, he's not. Right. Yeah, sorry about that.
So anyway, that's what I'm playing a lot of Guild Wars too.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
I'm level 22 now.
Oh my god, we have to schedule a time to play.
I know.
It's so difficult with like the 6-hour difference, but we'll make it
it's really bad for like obsessive compulsiveness though, Nancy, because I'm having
to the choir. Trust me,
I'm having to collect every bit, visit everything, and if I can't get a Vista, I don't want to play anymore. I can't jump up on those things. I know.
Yeah. I have not seen Travis. My husband was like, "Are you ever going to go to bed at the same time as me anymore?" And I was like, "Not for the foreseeable future." Probably not. He's like,
"It's a great game. The soundtrack, everything. I love it." But you know what? I've only come out of the first bit in Sylvari. I've come out of the first one and I've gone into the first place, which was a bit too low key, but I can't leave because I haven't done everything I'm meant to do.
Yeah.
I need to when I sign in, I need to have 19 out of 19, 18 out of 18. I need to have it all, and I've just gone into I think the Bispen Wilderness on my dream sequence thing. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Just gone there.
We need to play so that we can power level through the zones and collect all the stuff.
I need it, but I can't jump up on half of those things.
Okay, I know, but that's a learning curve that is awful, and you will eventually be able to do that, I promise.
Okay.
Game is not designed for your avatar to really jump, and yet that's what half of the Vista points are. Yeah. Half of the... Oh my gosh, my dog is so noisy today. Coco. Shh.
Oh, Coco.
She wants to join in.
She really does. She loves people. Guild Wars 2. You know, I intentionally did not pick that as my topic today because I was like, nobody wants to know about that.
I do.
No, they do. MMOs in general.
Anyway,
I was looking at Guild Wars 2, but at the moment I'm having great fun. I'm still enjoying Lord of the Rings Online. I'm doing the free-to-play. I only ever do free-to-play. That's still good.
And I've heard it is phenomenal. I mean, I know you have raved about the experience, but I've been reading a bunch of forums and stuff, MMO forums, and it just sounds awesome.
It is really, really good. I'm a massive Lord of the Rings fan, massive Middle-earth fan. And I like the way that they've taken it and made it their own, but I really like what they've done with it. It is a great game. The free-to-play is excellent. It's one of the best free-to-plays out there. I've also got Star Trek Online, which I absolutely love. Mainly for the space combat. The ground combat's not as good, but the space combat is awesome. It's really, really good. And at the moment, I'm also playing Neverwinter. Now, I'm only playing Neverwinter because apparently it ties in to the Tyranny of Dragons campaigns with the new Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, of which I own and I will be reviewing. But I've been playing it for about 4 or 5 hours. I'm up to level 15, and I have absolutely no idea what the connection is. So obviously that's something that comes later on in the game. I'm going to have to try. Maybe it's just a loose connection because they are talking about the cultural trade and what have you.
Yeah.
So maybe it's a loose connection.
A blast from the past. So
yeah. So
my gosh.
It is good. It's good. It's playable, but it's starting to get a little bit samey. You know what I mean? It's a bit of a grind, and I'm starting to get a bit bored of that. I mean, me and Lisa used to always play World of Warcraft. Not long after the Wrath of the Lich King expansion came out. How long did we play that for, Lisa?
Oh my god.
It was not long after Bruce was born. It's probably about 8 months.
I powered through.
Oh, unbelievably powered through.
To have a priest, though, priests can't do anything. Night elf priests can't do anything.
They are shit.
They have no power. So they need levelling to get to 80. Plus all the PvP and PvE grounds that I did to get everything. Because it's just, with me with MMOing, it's obsessive compulsive. I just have to do everything. I have to get 100%.
This is good. We share that too. Oh, I wish so much I lived in your country because John would never see you. That's the only thing we'd be doing.
Terrible.
Nancy, come right on over.
Okay.
Well, that's not very nice.
I will. I'll just live in your closet until I find somewhere else.
They're quite big closets, actually. You'd be quite surprised.
But that's
true.
I just, I got to level 80 and then I found the people were stupid. And
no, they weren't stupid, they were arrogant.
And and then you had that, and then it was just the same old dungeon crawling, raids and things, and people were getting pretentious about that, and they wanted to talk for 2 hours before doing anything. So I was always the Leroy Jenkins of the group. Let's just do this.
Yeah.
And, and it got old very quick. And then you have the guild arguments.
Ugh.
Then you have the guild coups.
Yeah,
and then you have no one's talking to each other anymore, so you try to change your name so that they don't talk to you anymore.
Which, still happens in Guild Wars, but I made sure to find a guild where, there's not a guild leader, everyone's just kind of a collection of people, so there are about 8 or 9 of us that have a say in, something that we're going to be doing to grow the guild, and if someone doesn't want to do it, it's fine, try to get that arrogance out of there. Guild Wars has that problem where, when they advertise in map chat, the different guilds, they're always 99% rep. I never go with those. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't want any kind of people bombing my hashtag or my name on Twitter, but that's fine if you want to do that, but I hate that because then it kind of leads to when I was playing earlier this year before I took a break.
Yeah.
I was in a guild and it changed hands, right? Like it does. And then all of a sudden people were asking me for my phone number so that they could text us regionally so when we could get on to do the temple raids. No. First of all, no. Second of all, that's not a real raid. It's an event chain.
Yeah.
That's not a raid. And third, I don't know. I'm not into that. Don't
I
boss
agree.
Me. I play the way I want.
Yeah, I'll play when I'm goddamn good and ready.
That's it. Play when you want to. Yeah. Take it, leave it. If you're online when they're doing something, that's fine. But that's what got me before. They're like, oh no, you have to be on at 8 o'clock because we're doing it. But it's not 8 o'clock my time. It's 8 o'clock someone else's time, and it just gets exhausting. So I just try not to. I always level up to max without a guild, and then I find that I have to join a guild because I need to do raids. And I'm sick of looking for groups. I don't know what Guild Wars is set up like, but
you don't need a guild. I think it's actually way more fun to have somebody to play with to level, just as you're leveling, because the story, leveling the first time, is the best experience the game offers. I don't think any other game does it better. It's great. I love it. There are a lot of people who complain, but they're usually veterans who just want new content, so I kind of understand. But now, I leveled without a guild. I didn't really have a guild until I hit 80 with my main, and then I was kind of well, I guess someone should teach me how to do the dungeons. And of course you get assholes for that too. But as long as you have, but they finally implemented the looking for group feature last year, I think, and that's way better. So even if you pug, you can kind of set your parameters. So you're not with
they seem to forget. Everybody goes through a dungeon for the first time.
Exactly.
They seem to forget. And especially, I remember when I first started MMOing, because I was a priest, I had to heal. So I wasn't DPS. Yeah. So I went the hard way. People say, "Where's the healer?" And I'm here. You're just a crap tank.
It's true.
So
so true.
It's always
that was my experience with the original Guild Wars. My favorite combination. You could have 2 classes then, which was pretty fun. So I was like a monk mesmer. Mesmer's like an illusionist. Yeah. John, in case you were curious. I can't tell you how many times that we would do a story mission, and those stupid heads, it's the nicest thing I could say off the top of my head, they would run off, and they'd get themselves killed, and they'd be like, "Monk, why you no res?" "'Cause you're stupid. You ran into the mob." Everyone knows you run past the trash. Come on.
No, it's true.
Oh, gosh, I had to stop playing that character because I couldn't do any story missions. I was always the only one alive. Always. Monk, why you res? No, you guys, I'm just going to go do it by myself.
Yeah, that's it. But the thing is, I do feel that one thing I would say about Guild Wars is it's confusing in the sense of it doesn't hold your hand.
Oh, okay. I absolutely agree. You know,
Which is a good thing.
They made changes to try and make it better. I've been meaning to talk to you about that. Do you think, so that's still your impression, because you started playing after the patch, the September patch that put that in place. You still think it's confusing?
I don't think it's confusing. What I don't find is that there's structure at the beginning. So say, for example, in Warcraft, you wouldn't go into another section or another zone until you received a quest that told you to go there. So you would know that you were going in the right direction. Right now, I feel like, I covered everything 100%. Gotcha. So I've still in the zone, and I've probably gone over my level where I should be there. So when I'm going into the next zone, which is all like level 9s and 10s, you know, I haven't even been there yet, so I'm thinking I've missed something in here. Or do I go in the other place? Because it only gives you your quest, your personal quest, when you hit certain levels. So I don't know where I'm supposed to be right now, because I accidentally went through a vortex that took me to some place with loads of them, and I'm like, where am I? Where am I? There. So, and you know, and I'm picking up stuff that's, but I don't know.
See, I agree. It's like they made these changes, and you could tell like what they were trying to address, but then the change was wrong. Like that wasn't the right way to do it. Like if you start out as a Norn in the Wayfarer Foothills, I think it's Wayfarer Foothills, the starting zone, there's actually a portal to the level 80 area, Frostgorge Sound. And initially, when the patch dropped, you know how that little arrow in the corner directs you to like where to go? It was directing these newbies to go to Frostgorge Sound. And it's not initially, you're not initially aware that you are in like a level 70, 80 area until like the ambient animal by the waypoint like murders you. Like one-shots you. Yeah, so I'm sure that was I don't know, it is frustrating. I remember being mad at the game quite a bit when I was leveling, but now I love it. But, I mean, it's like, how do you overcome that barrier? It's weird. I don't know why they can't figure that out.
I think it'll be good. I just need to get over the fact is that what if I miss areas?
No, it's okay. No, it so does not matter. You can come back and do it anytime you want.
Okay, see, that's the only thing that I was worried about. But if that's okay, then...
You know what's cool is, like, if you're in the middle of doing something for, like, one of those Renown Hearts, and you've only got the meter halfway, but then there's some cool event chain, and, like, this big thing spawns, and it tells you to go kill it, you can just leave and go kill it. And if you come back to that heart, like, 4 months later, it's still halfway full. It remembers all of your... Yeah, it remembers everything that you've done.
Yeah. That's good.
Sorry,
John,
you need to play.
I think I'll stray away, because I'm doing the bit where I've just met this bloke that is blatantly from the Nightmare Court, but he's got no memory. He's got red hair, man. There's one thing I've learned at level 21. All the people with red hair are bad people.
Oh, poor gingers.
The Nightmare Court, they've all got red, they're all gingers.
Yeah, they do. Oh, the Nightmare Court. Yeah. Have you met Traherne yet?
Yes, I have, yeah.
Oh, he's a fan favorite. He's a character people love to hate.
I don't like his clothes. I was really disappointed with his outfit. I was like, wait a minute, it takes me, every time I like log in, I have like coordinate my dye set and, you know, I don't wander around looking a mess. What's his excuse? I don't get it. I have to go in and say, oh no, that studded quilted jacket, it doesn't look good in pink, so I'm going to change my ensemble to blue. I'm going to change my ensemble to blue. That's it. I've hidden my backpack because it don't look nice, and I've got a really nice bow. What's his problem?
That's funny. I don't think anyone that I've talked to has criticized his fashion. That is hilarious.
And you're going to see it next time you see him.
You know what? I am. After we
finish
with
this,
I'm going to log on and go look at it. I sure am.
It's like he's wrapped up in seaweed. I don't like it.
Lisa, please do not ever change.
Could do better.
Indeed. Oh my gosh. Well,
so anyway, that's what I've been doing.
We talked about that without meaning to.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I've been doing.
Sean, are you still there? Are you still alive?
Lisa, you are now 4 hours over your allotted time.
I don't feel well.
Anything else you want to add?
No.
No,
you sure about that?
Yeah.
We're good.
Okay. In that case, Nancy, it's over to you. What do you wish to talk about this evening? And please, don't talk about the others too.
I think we've got about 10 minutes-ish.
Oh.
I was just going to
Don't worry about the time limit now.
Okay.
Shut up, Dawn.
Well, I wanted to, I hesitated to bring it up because I don't like to, especially on podcasts, unless you're listening to something that has like a definite angle on something, I traditionally try not to bring that thing to stuff I'm talking about, but I think it's kind of important at this point to talk about, or at least bring up or mention Gamergate. Have y'all heard about?
No.
I'm afraid I
Gamergate?
have, yes.
Yeah.
What's this? No,
Well,
I haven't.
so I went to go see the Wikipedia. I just wanted to see if they had like an actual balanced description, and they do. I'm surprised. So they must have been moderating this one. So it's been ongoing for the past couple months, Lisa. It says it started in August of this month, this year, but it's been a couple months before that. It's basically just a controversy in the video game sphere. Concerns ingrained issues of sexism and misogyny, as well as journalistic ethics in the online gaming press. But those two things are kind of conflated. It really just... It was a sustained campaign of harassment that indie game developer Zoe Quinn was subjected to after an ex-boyfriend posted numerous allegations on his blog in August 2014, including that she had a romantic relationship with a Kotaku journalist, which prompted concerns that the relationship led to positive media coverage for her game. So, although those concerns proved unfounded, allegations about journalistic ethics continued to clash with allegations of harassment and misogyny. So other topics of debate have included perceived changes or threats to the gamer identity, which is stupid, as a result of the ongoing maturation and diversification of the gaming industry. So really what happened was, what I think. Gamergate hit mainstream media, at least in America, last week. Like the New York Times was commenting on it. If you've made it to the New York Times, you've made it, right?
Yeah.
Generally, in America, in American media. Merca, oh, absolutely. This has a lot of Merca in it, unfortunately. So I wanted to talk about like the women in the traditional male nerd sphere. It's coming up again, but I feel like this year has been kind of the year of that. I feel like it's been coming up a lot. Like we've seen those kind of reactions before. We've been talking about it. Like, where was the Wonder Woman movie? Of course, now we know. But at the time, right, where was the Wonder Woman film? Where's the Black Widow film? The initial criticism we had over the mostly male casting of Episode 7, so many other things that I can't think of that are kind of in that same vein. I think maybe it started with the Yes All Women movement, the hashtag movement earlier this year in the spring. But basically, my question was, how long do you think, this sort of pushback, I think now that it's here to stay. So how long do you think the pushback is going to continue before actual change is established? And not just in video games, but Gamergate is pretty nasty. But it happens in comics too.
Yeah, so talk me through that again. So this woman... Right.
So she's an indie developer. She's very outspoken. She's definitely opinionated. She made several. She's an indie game developer, so she not AAA, but still pretty well known in the gaming circles if you follow journalism.
Yeah.
She's been on a lot of sites as a guest. She's well known, I would say. Her most famous game is called Depression Quest, which is actually an incredible game. And when it was available on Steam, I think that was actually the first instance of this where I guess the boys club who don't want women to have opinions about video games kind of came out of the woodwork. Yeah. And they just, it came out on Steam Greenlight, or it tried to, but it was voted down. So eventually it came out again. Zoe's ex-boyfriend posted this crazy huge blog thing on Tumblr. He posted to 4chan, which that to me damages his credibility beyond
did he do that?
All repair. Because 4chan is disgusting.
Bad breakup or what?
Oh, well, yeah. That's what he claimed. They also think, he was saying that she'd cheated on him and slept around with this Kotaku journalist, and that's why Depression Quest got a feature and all that kind of stuff, which ultimately after they asked this dude, the journalist in question, hey, Zoe implicated you. All the concerns were basically proven unfounded. So he was just an angry, jealous man who was upset, I guess, and decided that he was going to drag and air their dirty laundry everywhere in an effort to discredit her and ruin her career.
Wow, sounds like a lot of the Gamergaters out there.
I totally agree with you. And
So
they say it's about journalistic integrity, but I just think that's farce. Yeah, that's such garbage. They just tried to put a nice veneer on like this like well of misogyny and violence. It's disgusting.
To be honest with you, I see a lot of the Gamergaters like the same way that I see people who are against gay marriage. The fact is, they're shouting bullshit over something that has absolutely nothing to do with them, or it doesn't affect them in any way. It doesn't matter if a girl's developed it. It doesn't matter if a girl's the star in it. It doesn't matter if the girl wrote the game. It doesn't matter if women are getting their foot in the door. It doesn't affect the way you play games whatsoever. So why are you getting bent out of shape of it? Just because you're uncomfortable with the notion, because you've got this really strange, limited, blinkered view of the world that you think should be imposed on everybody else. I'm sorry, I'm not interested. And I also think that Gamergate has now turned into nothing more than a massive bunch of soapboxes for people to stand on to shout their own bullshit and use Gamergate as an excuse to talk crap to each other. And now I'm thoroughly sick of the sound of it. I hate the fact that they're giving it a bloody freaking modicum. They've called it Gamergate as if that gives it some kind of credibility. Well, I'm sorry, but Nixon turned out to be a wanker as well. So I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm really not. And I can't imagine. I can't even begin to tell you about how angry it makes me, because all they're doing is perpetuating this disgusting stereotype of male misogyny, which exists in the computer game industry. There's no doubt about that. But all these rape and death threats at these wankers, and let's face it, probably about 95% of these people sending out these death and rape threats are probably just complete, absolute troll tossers sat at a computer after a few beers thinking that they're being a bit funny. Unfortunately, there's also a few people out there who are probably taking it a little far too seriously. And these people are basically just creating this massive atmosphere of bullshit, which is making all these people who aren't gamers, like New York Times readers, or your normal Mrs. Fanny who's gone down to the shops with the little kids. She now sees these people the way that I was looked at in the 1980s as a role player, as this stupid, weird, basement-dwelling wanker who sits there with a gamepad in his hands and masturbates over pictures of Lara Croft. I am really not interested in all these people who are screaming to the heavens about how their world's been turned upside down. You're turning your own world upside down, you fucking idiots. And that's what I've got to say about it. Sorry.
I'm sending you like an online hug.
Thank you very much.
Reach.
Yeah, I hate it. If you want to talk about that sort of stuff, that's fine. But 2 fucking months, and all people are doing is still shouting and screaming at each other and blaming each other for the fact that everything's gone wrong. You're screwing up your own industry, and what's more, you're screwing up your own fun. Games are made and created to be fun. Not just for you blinkered, narrow-minded twat. They're made for everybody. If you don't like the game, here's an idea for it. It's a little bit radical. Don't fucking buy it. And that's it.
Right.
So anyway, sorry, carry on.
Here, John.
Yeah.
Jonathan.
Yes, Lisa.
I don't even know what Nancy's question was.
Oh, sorry.
Oh no, no. I wanted to hear your reaction. I was curious, and it was great. That was pretty much my reaction. I can always count on y'all for that. Honest reactions, good stuff. Sorry. I just said, how long do you think this like shit is going to go on before But
it honestly depends on how strong their soapboxes are, because at some point they are going to collapse underneath them because they've been on them shouting and screaming for so long. But I don't want it to get swept under the carpet, don't get me wrong, because there are issues that do need to be addressed. But unfortunately, those serious issues that do need to be addressed are getting buried under the massive mound of shit that people are putting on the internet, because everybody's got a fucking opinion on it. So, no, you need to, I don't know, get a Senate committee together or something, get an oversight committee sorted out. I don't know. Get people up in front of Congress and get them to sit down and say, well, actually, yes, I design computer games and I hate women. Right, thank you very much for that, now fuck off. So, no, it's just... Get it sorted. Stop talking about it. Do something.
It's not going to change, though, is it?
No, it probably won't.
No. You know what?
Unfortunately, all these massive gaming companies are all getting together and putting their heads together, but they're like the fucking United Nations. They're going to sit there and talk shit about how great they're going to make the world, and then they're just going to go back and still make computer games for prepubescent teenage boys with large boxes of Kleenex. I'm sorry, I'm really not... It's nothing's going to change. They've ruined it for themselves.
But and here's me playing devil's advocate. Yeah. Right. It's common sense, isn't it? I mean, from what I can gather from the story you've just told me, he's obviously a very bitter man.
I think a lot of it is moved on from that initial accusation.
Well, but I'm just saying that should have just been brushed aside and ignored. Why have people given it the light of day? I don't understand why people are stupid.
Because it was a mean woman and this poor man who just wanted to love her. Because you know that if the shoe had been on the other foot and Zoe had been the one to spread all this shit about her ex-boyfriend, people would have been like, lol's crazy bitch, and not given her the time of day. But when it's a man having his feelings hurt, I think that's really where it's from.
Unfortunately, yes, all women. I'm not saying that they're to blame, but I think it's also a backlash against yes, all women.
Yes,
because they're using it now as their own platform to say, well, actually, men are abused too. Yeah, sorry about that. I'm going to have to disagree with that. I think men.
But to be fair, what on earth is going on? Right?
Well, I think this has been brewing in the industry for a long time, and it just took a particular set of events to really lance that boil, and now it's everywhere.
So what? Even if she was sleeping with this bloke just to get her game,
well, right? Because
girl done good. Girl done good. Because do you know what? Is her game any good? Nancy, you said it is a good game, so that should stand on its own. If she has to do what she has to do to get it there, that's the type of person she is. It doesn't matter if she's got boobs or a penis.
Well, but it does matter, Lisa, to all these people. It does matter.
These people have got nothing better to do. These, like in Parks and Recs, that woman who stands up and preaches the Jesus.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what that is.
Sadly, they've got a computer and an internet connection, and that somehow makes them
and you know what? It's
an
one
expert on the
thing
matter.
to not like Zoe Quinn. It's one thing to not like her or buy her games. That's fine. That's totally your right as a person. That's fine. Yeah. Don't like her. But when you're going online and they have this campaign of harassment where you're tweeting her, and I don't want to repeat any of the tweets that I can remember from what she got sent because they're so vile.
Yeah.
That they were, multiple rape accusations, harassment. People got her phone number. They were doxing her. They got all her personal information. She had to leave her house because she really thought that someone might come there and kill her or rape her. That's not okay. No. That's never okay.
Any arguments that you had against all of this is immediately nullified and made void the first moment you make any kind of threat. Even if it's just a passing, I think you're a wanker and one day I'll get you. Even if it's just that, it's wrong. That's it. That means that your argument has no weight, and you're falling back on threats and violence to get your own way, like a petulant teenager with a joystick and a box of Kleenex. So I want to keep using that analogy. I quite like it because that is basically exactly what it is.
Yeah, I
hate to think that a lot of these people that are doing this are in their 30s or 40s, because that means you've gone through your life without learning a fucking thing.
I think they probably are, unfortunately, in the 25 to 45 age group.
John, Nancy. Our Lord, our Lady, Leslie Knope, tried to marry 2 gay penguins.
Yeah. I know.
And
God
look what
bless
happens.
Leslie Knope. I love her so
Leslie
much.
Knope.
Yeah.
This is what happens.
Leslie Knope.
You get the word of Jesus.
Leslie Knope should be president and a game developer, let's face it.
She should. Oh my God, we'd have a game.
I would totally say.
Leslie Knope nailed feminism.
She could do like Tetris, but in the shape of waffles. I totally agree. Waffle Tetris.
It's just that show is so well done because you can't not like Leslie.
No, you
she's
can't.
No.
She's
really
honest
annoying.
And
but she's really annoying, and you can't stop that. Don't get me wrong.
She's not really annoying.
After my little feminist rant,
she's organised. She's not really annoying. She's organised. In fact, in my everyday, I am totally and I'm not joking. Saying, what would Leslie Knope do? Don't be. You have not had the packs that I put together for this Global Day of Service thing that we're doing. Was in the spirit of Leslie Knope. They were binded.
Oh, I want to see it. Oh my God! Of course it was.
I was like,
I love that about Leslie.
Tabs,
her annoyingness comes from a genuine effort to do the best job that she can.
Well, Lisa's the best. She's passionate. She's passionate about what she does. She's passionate about what she wants to do, and she's passionate about where she's going and why she's going there. Yeah. That's what makes her a great feminist.
Agreed.
And
So so y'all are kind of not sure that things will change in the long run.
First of all,
they just released a study that actually now women do make up 50% of people who buy and play games.
Yeah, and I also remember when Assassin's Creed came out, and all everybody talked about was the rather effective game producer. A rather attractive game producer. And that's the girl that they kept interviewing, as if having a girl on the team was something new. And not only was she a girl, she was actually quite attractive as well. And it's like all these people were shitting themselves as if that was going to make the game good in some sort of strange way. It's like, could you please forget about who made it and look at what they've made, for God's sake.
I'm a woman, but she was a poster child. She had no idea about that, whatever. She was talking rubbish.
Very strange. But can I just say as well, even though I'll be sat here obviously in support of feminism, I'm not a great feminist. I'm no good at being feminist, so I do apologise that I don't try hard.
But that does make you a good feminist, John. You have won the internet today.
To be honest with you, I'm not even a fan of feminism. I'm not a fan of any kind of ism, and unless it's something weird.
Prism.
Prisms are quite.
Oh, there you go.
But no, I'm not a fan of anything like that. Because as soon as you label something, I don't think you give it any credibility. Because then all you're doing is getting people on your side and in your gang, and I don't like that. You're also automatically choosing sides, and the moment you choose sides, then you're not trying to be inclusive at all, are you? So,
John, I'm not trying to worry you, but you sound like a communist.
No, I'm not a communist. Oh no, yeah, but unfortunately, that also means that I believe in communism, and unfortunately, I don't believe in isms except for prisms, as we've already established. But it's a subject that I'm not really that into. But Gamergate, I don't know why, it just wound me up something chronic. And I tell you why, it's because I know a lot of gamers, I know a lot of people in the business and a lot of developers, not just in computer games but also in tabletop games, and they talk about it a lot, and then they talked about it more, and then they carried on talking about it. And I understand it's an important issue, and I don't mind them talking about it in my feed, Twitter, Facebook, what have you. That's not a problem. But I click on the links and I go and read the stuff that they're linked to, and it just winds me up. These people honestly really need to stop spitting, start talking. And that's why I think it's not going to get anywhere, because whilst they're sat there trying to talk in this big open room, there's going to be 2 or 3 people sat there saying, it's like, say they go to Congress and they sit there, Congress on the internet, and they sit there in front of all these people and they say, Mr. Twatface, what have you got to say for yourself? And he sits there and said, actually, Congress, I've got to say this about this subject. And then everybody sat there, all the journalists, all the civilians that have come along to watch, all the people that got lost on the way to the toilet and wandered in there by mistake. Immediately, they all stand up and start screaming, you're a wanker, I hate this, I hate games, I hate women, I hate men. And whilst they're all screaming and shouting, you can't hear that poor sod who's there to make a point and to try and make things better, sat at the front talking to the people in charge. And that's what's annoying me about this whole thing. The internet should be put to one side, and everybody should start thinking about if they can, actually trying to get their message across without shouting and screaming on some stupid, unimportant forum somewhere hoping to get attention.
See, I agree. And, I mean, maybe there were people after the Zoe Quinn thing, even if it was found out to be unfounded, which it was.
Yeah.
If you really were concerned about journalistic integrity in video game, journalism, you could already see that Gamergate was going the wrong way. So you should immediately disassociate with that, wait for this shit to blow over, and then actually have a measured... Right. I don't understand the people who are still adhering to the hashtag and I guess saying they're in support of it. How could you be? Gamergate is about harassment.
It is. That's all it's about. It's unfortunate. It's been hijacked. It's been hijacked by that 95% who
so
just...
it's kind of like...
I've got
I don't understand people who support it. It's like, then you're an asshole.
Yeah,
that's what you're
Unfortunately now, every time, the thing is that, and I'm probably wrong, and chances are I am wrong, but every time I hear somebody referred to as a Gamergator, I immediately assume that they're a massive twat. So unfortunately, it hasn't done anybody any favours. And unfortunately as well, because it's a bit of a mob mentality, all these people shouting and screaming to the heavens about how badly they've been treated, basically Gamergators, basically white, middle-aged men, all shouting and screaming, oh no, it's just completely unfair. And unfortunately, it's turned into a bit of a mob mentality now. It's like having a riot after your team wins. You know what I mean? Yeah, you're supposed to be out there having fun and enjoying it, but unfortunately, you kind of joined in with the rioting because it seemed to be the right thing to do at the time. I can imagine a lot of these people in the future looking back on all this thinking, do you know what? You really shouldn't have said that. I made myself look like an absolute arsehole. And for God's sake, I'm the CEO of a publishing company. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know, I don't know. There's going to be a lot of red-faced people, a lot of regrets when this starts to calm down, and also I think there's going to be a lot of people out there who people are going to realise actually I've always thought you were a bit of a knob, but now I'm sure you are. So
no, you are, yeah.
And I think that's a great thing because it brings the knobs out the woodwork, and now you know who to avoid. It's a job done.
That is true.
Feel
I
better,
think I'm gonna
Jonathan?
be.
I do feel much better. Sorry about that. That was my Guild War 2 moment. I went on for about 15 minutes.
Oh no, that was great. I didn't have to say anything because you basically
apologise.
covered all my points. So good show.
Sorry.
Yeah. So Lisa, so neither of you think that like this will ultimately lead to anything different?
I think it's going to lead to a few. What do you call it? They're going to pay lip service to it with a few changes. Maybe employ a couple of extra women or somewhere, and that'll be pretty much it. And then next year, people were looking back on it and going, "Do you remember Gamergate? Oh God, yeah, it was a bit of a laugh, wasn't it?" And then they're going to completely forget just how important everybody wanted it to be and how much it crashed in on itself.
The internet is a perfect example of how people can get it so wrong.
Yeah,
It's true.
Yeah, it's
that
incredibly
is it.
wrong, unfortunately.
And we tend, as a human race, to go through a lot of fads where people get it so wrong.
You can be an arsehole in complete anonymity. And
it's true.
It's destroying everything.
Well, that's the problem. It's the anonymity.
Yeah.
These assholes wouldn't be saying this shit if someone knew who they were.
Of course they wouldn't. Bloody hell, man. Jesus Christ, what they're going to do, they're going to try and outrun these people. They'll probably weigh about 35 stone and probably haven't seen sunlight for about 6 months. So it's just, it's an absolute nightmare. It really is.
Well, I guess I'm young and stupid. I guess I feel like I have to be hopeful that this will lead to something else because, I mean, I don't know, the America that I will be, I guess, inheriting over the next, 30, 40 years has been totally, messed up by the previous generations, and somehow that's on me. Somehow I have to fix that, me and everyone my age,
do you know
even though I didn't do anything to mess it up. So I feel like at this point I have to be more hopeful that things will change or be different, because they just kind of have to be.
I think America
keep doing the same thing.
I think America should defederalise. And I think...
I'm
sorry, I
actually,
do. And I think all those states that all like each other, that are all neighbours, all grouped together, and you should become a whole bunch of countries and not individual states all under the same flag. Because let's face
you're
it,
not the first person to say that.
Yeah, I think that's what you should become the not the United States of America, but you should become the nice and friendly countries of the North American continent. That's what I think it should be called. It's a bit longer, and I think it actually spells out the word knobheads.
I do
know that Texas would not want to be with anybody else. So we would be the country of Texas.
Well, let's face it,
we'd have really great trade agreements with Louisiana.
Yeah.
And
there you go, straight away. So California, it's got its own GDP, for God's sake. You know, it's its own country. So California
we were our
could be
own
its own
country, actually, for many years.
But there you go, it still can be. No problem. Alaska might as well be its own country. It's got elk and it's got Sarah Palin. That might as well be its own country.
Sarah Palin.
You know what I mean? All of New England and New York and up there, that can be its own country. And Washington, I don't know, can do whatever.
But it practically is. They are all their own separate cultures and countries and stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I think America is a huge country divided by borders. So there you go.
What?
Divided by state lines. So
I don't know.
You phase those out. I'm sure it'll help.
I think a lot of people my age are under the assumption. I mean, I guess older generations assume that we just have to pick up their shitty pieces and make something not as nice out of it. And my understanding, I don't feel like I don't have to do that. I can go somewhere else. I don't have to stay here. I can go somewhere else and do that. I don't need your second hand me down.
Country.
Yeah. Well, I mean. And it's kind of like, why is it on me to fix it when you're the one that screwed it up? That's not, But that's an entirely different discussion, and I will probably piss off everybody over the age of 50.
It's not nerdy enough to talk about. It's far too serious. Yeah.
It is. Oh, it's too real. It's too real.
It's too real, man.
Yeah.
You can't handle the truth.
Too real, man. Well, who knows? In the future, I love that in Philip Pullman's His Dark Materials, I love that there's the country of Texas. That made me so happy. Even in an alternate universe, Texas is by itself. Of course it is. Of course it exists. Oh, Texas. Love it or hate it, you've got an opinion about it. That's for sure.
Love it or hate it, it's always going to be there. Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll have to pick your brain about that when we're off the air, John. That's interesting.
What's that? Sorry, about Texas being there? No, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it's there.
About the future of America.
Oh man, I've got no opinion on the future of America. I'm going to be honest with you. America can take care of itself. It's big enough and ugly enough to take care of itself. It's been around for years.
Can't be worse than our country.
No.
We're voting over here whether to stay part of our own country. It's absolutely bloody ridiculous.
Yeah. But that was already done, right? That was already taken care of. Like
that was
very, very narrow.
That was sorted.
So.
Oil, man. It's all about oil.
Yeah, it's all about
and for us too. Right?
Yeah, it's true.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I just thought we should, in the interest of bringing in the video game sphere, sadly, that is the major news from video games. I'm sorry to say.
Well, can I then move on to my topic? And hopefully...
Yes, let's.
Haven't you started yours yet, John?
No, I really haven't. I've been talking to everybody else's.
Talked way too much, yeah.
So, I'll keep this one short then.
Okay.
Because I think I've made enough points tonight. And I'm no doubt I'm going to get shitloads of people saying, you're wrong, God damn it. I don't know why
I hope so.
I don't know why they'd be American.
Are they all from Oklahoma?
Oh no, they would totally be American. You know that's true.
I can't imagine. Actually, no, yeah, I can. But anyway, my topic tonight, staying on computer games, is a game that I played last night. Lisa already knows what I'm going to talk about. It's let's face. Okay. Ridley Scott's Alien came out in 1979, okay? I saw it in about 1983, 84, when I was 13 years old. And this game, Alien Isolation, is the game that I've been waiting for. It's the Alien that I've been waiting for 30 years. It is good.
You liked it that much, huh?
I absolutely adored it. I completely understand there's people out there who don't think much of it because it's obviously not running around and shooting stuff like a Colonial Marine. Let's face it, Aliens Colonial Marines was an absolute pile of shit. But this game is, oh my lord, I don't know how to put it. I played it on the PlayStation 4. I played it around at a friend's house. And it starts off, it's got the atmosphere, it's got Sigourney Weaver doing the flight recording and the Nostromo voiceover at the beginning. And then you go into the game, and it's all about atmosphere. The whole game is about atmosphere and tension, and it was palpable. I am not joking. Once you get into the game, things kick off, and you're on Sevastopol station, and everything's falling down around you. You're trying to find. The tension is incredible. Now, I love games like Dead Space. I think Dead Space is fantastic. It's gory, it's stupid, but it's jump scares. And it is a bit, something will jump out at you and go, oh, look, I'm a muted monkey. And then then you shit your pants, but then you kill it and then carry on. This game, it's constantly, you do get your jump scares, but the tension is constant. You always think there's something around the corner. I tell you what scares me is when I'm opening doors. I'm stood there, the door will open, and I'm immediately assuming there's either going to be something or someone behind it. So you're half turning away from the screen because you think something's going to jump out at you. It's terrifying. And this is telling, the most scariest moment is just after you've first seen the alien. I'm not going to call it a xenomorph, that's an aliens thing, but you've just seen the alien, and it's a horrible scene. Unfortunately, it's a bit of a cutscene as well, which is a bit annoying, but there you go. But the alien comes down, and you're hiding under a table, and you're having a bit of a panic, and then the alien walks off looking for, I don't know, a vending machine for Coke or something. And so you run off down a corridor, and you call this transport pod, like a lift, and you press the button, but you've got to wait for the lift. So you're hiding behind this crate. And all you can see is down this corridor where you know the alien has just gone, and the music's going. You can hear the heartbeat. You can hear creaks and screeches. This goes on for more than a minute while you're waiting for this. There's me, my Andy, and Richard are sat there. Richard's playing it. And all we're doing is literally screaming, going, where's this fucking lift? For God's sake, what's taking so long? And it is just terrifying. I have never played anything quite like it. Now, I understand a bit later on in the game, there is quite a lot of backtracking, and you do go through the old levels, which to me brings a little, like a sense of full security, like, oh, I've been here before. Doesn't matter. The alien works on its own AI. There's no set pattern to it. It reacts to sound, to light, to movement. So everything you do, it's just, I can't even begin to tell you how good this game was. Now, I'm a massive Alien fan, so I was bound to like it. But then again, I said that about Aliens Colonial Marines, thinking, well, it's an Aliens thing. I love Aliens. It's going to be a great game. It wasn't. It was a massive pile of shit. But if you want, I've been sent, and I've got to thank Titan Books for this, I've been sent the new Alien Archive for review, which is a great book. I'll be reviewing that soon. But I was also sent the book of Alien Isolation, which is the art book of the game. And they really have gone back to a 1970s mentality to design, to create to get this game made. And it's just basically, it's a love letter to the 90s. It's a love letter to Ron Cobb and to Ridley Scott and to Chris Foss and to H.R. Geiger and to everybody who loved the original film the best. I honestly think this game has been made specifically for me. So I don't really have a question as such, because let's face it, I've only got about 10 seconds to actually fit all this in. I don't really have a question as such, but with the successful games like The Last of Us and things like L.A. Noire, which aren't action-based at all, they are more investigative, more exploration, more getting used to your surroundings. That kind of, and like with Hard Rain a few years ago, which I kind of enjoyed, but I got a little bit annoyed with it and a bit bored with it about halfway through. It doesn't rely on action adventure or button mashing or anything like that. I think Alien Isolation really is a watershed moment. It is really showing you what you can do with a game, not just physically to get you excited, but emotionally as well, because it really does draw you in. Yeah, fair dues, some of the animation of the characters' faces is a little bit stiff, but you're never going to get away from that, I don't think. Not unless you get that motion capture sort of video effect that you get in L.A. Noire, which I think would have been brilliant, and this would have given the characters, because there's a lot of emotion in the characters, and it would have given a lot more impact if their faces were realistically animated. But I honestly see the future of games, be it made by men or fucking women, I really see the future of games moving along this path. Games which are immersive, not just action-wise, but emotionally creeping around and soaking in the sheer atmosphere. Because it's not just the gameplay itself that's enjoyable. This is on a PlayStation 4. It was beautiful to look at. The design work is gorgeous. The lighting is amazing. It really draws you into the world. So, I think my question is, if you had to sit down and play a game like that, or sit down and play a game which wasn't action orientated, but would draw you in just for the gameplay elements, what would you choose? How would it be? Fantasy? Would it science fiction? Do you have a specific story that you would play in? Lisa, I want to throw that one at you first.
I don't know. I like fantasy-based games. I think that's what pulls me in at the moment. I feel more comfortable in a fantasy-based game. For example, two very identical games, two different settings, which is Mass Effect and Dragon Age.
Yeah.
Yes.
I prefer Dragon Age over Mass Effect. Mass Effect was very good. It was very good.
I love it.
But I preferred the Dragon Age version myself.
Yeah. It was good. Dragon Age was good. I never completed Dragon Age, but I did complete Mass Effect.
Dragon Age.
I'm more drawn
balls.
towards science fiction for fall, but Dragon Age was excellent. It was really, really good.
Dragon Age, we spoke about it before, but just the story involved in it is immense. I like it. But I don't science fiction, not so much.
Yeah, science fiction games work for me because I think with fantasy, it's not that once you've seen one, you've seen it all. But I do think there's a lot of sameness. That's probably why I'm not a massive fan of I've quite a lot. That's probably why I enjoyed Rift. Do you remember Rift, Lisa? Yeah. Rift was a really good MMO. It was good fun.
Guild Wars reminds me of Rift.
Yeah, but it was nothing that I hadn't seen before, as far as a fantasy game is concerned.
I think it was good because you didn't have to involve yourself much with other people.
No, and it really was a drop-in-drop-out game, and that's probably what made it a good game to play. But with science fiction, unfortunately, but with science fiction, there's so much you can do, so many different design choices you can make, the look of it, the feel of it. I'm really surprised that there's not more science fiction MMOs out there, and that it really does seem to be sort of fantasy sort of dominated. Except for Star Wars: The Old Republic, which I also didn't like, unfortunately.
Oh.
Sorry. So, Nancy, what do you think? Where do you think video games are going? Using that as like a yardstick, do you think that's like a game that could prove to be continually popular? A type of game?
This is how I felt about BioShock Infinite. I wrote an article for something, somewhere. I think it was just for myself, more than anything. But I think other people had criticisms about BioShock Infinite, but I think what bothered me about it is like how unnecessary any of the combat was, and how I thought it would have just been it would have been a better game and a stronger narrative if they had just only done the story. But that was kind of my problem, is I was like, I guess like they touted how fun it would be to use the combat systems, and, it's always kind of fun to use the Bioshock, like the plasmids or whatever they were in the first game, and then, that's always kind of fun to get the vigors, blah, blah, blah. Like, I like the flavor that brings to the world, but I remember just kept thinking, like, I felt like it was just always, like, a few steps behind. And then you have a game like The Last of Us, which is, like...
Epic.
Incredible. Incredible. I mean, I can count on one hand the number of games that Travis is my husband, I guess, for listeners. So if I say his name, you'll know who he is. That Travis and I have played together. We were both speechless and like in tears. Like it's just so good. I just felt like it was such a misstep. Like really, like why are we still using combat or violence or, any of that as like the means of conflict to drive a video game forward? Like, why are we still doing that? So then when you brought that up, it's like, that's exactly. As far as whether I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence, not because I can't decide, but just because I love fantasy and I love science fiction equally. Travis is definitely like you, John. He is way more into science fiction. He says the minute that they make a really good sci-fi MMO, he's there.
Oh God, yeah. And it really, and it really needs to be something new and fresh and exciting. Because I don't think I play other than Star Trek, but I think I only really play that because it's Star Trek.
Right.
Other than Star Trek, there's not really any decent science fiction MMOs out there. There really isn't. It's all fantasy.
I guess, it kind of it goes back a little bit to Gamergate. I hate to bring it up again.
Oh, God.
But I think it's true that, like, games have definitely surpassed, at least for those of us who actually know about them, they've really surpassed that, it's just for fun. And now games are a real art form, which critiques and has things to say about humanity and culture and society. And, of course, that's just going to draw criticism as it evolves as that kind of thing. It's just the newest kid on the block. That's what happened to movies. That's what has happened to actual art forever, like written, drawn art, whatever. I think it's going to get better. I think they've discovered, especially Naughty Dog, that telling a great story is better than having, I think most people prefer. If you can have both of those things, well done. But, I mean, it's that interactivity that I think makes the story in video games a completely unique animal from any other story that you can read or watch.
I think now with the quality of graphics, with the quality of music, with the quality of sound in games these days, it's such a much more immersive experience that all these shooter games, which I'm going to be honest, I do enjoy, don't get me wrong, they can be good fun when they want to be.
Right.
Although I was playing Halo Reach the other day and I just did not get on with it at all. And I was the same with Battlefield. I was playing Battlefield and I'm thinking, I'm just running around shooting stuff here. I'm really, really not enjoying it. Maybe that's me showing my age, but I really, really wasn't enjoying it. And just playing a violent game for the sake of violence, I just wasn't doing anything for me. I need something more than that. And computer games are more than capable of that. I need something more than just running down a corridor and shooting random pixels. I need something I can get my teeth into.
Agreed.
So, I personally, the Alien Isolation is not only just the Alien story that I've been waiting for 30 years, it's the kind of game that I've been waiting for so long as well. It's just immense on just about every level. I absolutely adore it. And I'm really looking forward as well to getting my own copy of it. That'd be ace. But there you go.
I think Travis is going to pass on that game for now. We watched a lot of quick looks, and even just watching other people play it was terrifying.
Now, we were watching gameplay movies last week, gameplay videos, and it's this dude called Angry Joe. He does the Angry Joe reviews, and he's absolutely brilliant. I think he's fantastic. But he does his gameplay video, 30 minutes, him and his mate Joe, strangely enough. And you got them in the top right-hand corner playing the game, these levels, and you can feel it. You can feel the tension, and they're both laughing and joking, but there's kind of a nervousness to it, as if they're laughing and joking to make themselves feel better that they're in a really shitty situation. It's really, really good. It's really, really well done. But I suggest that actually go onto YouTube, type in Angry Joe Alien Isolation review, and there'll also be a little thing, a 30-minute video with him and his mate playing it. It's funny as well. It's really funny. It's great.
Excellent.
But there you go.
All right.
Well, we've ran over. We were supposed to do an hour. We've done an hour and 30 minutes. So I think we've done all right tonight. So I think we should have any last words from Lisa Hicks.
No last words. I've got a blocked nut knows.
Yes. Any last words from Nancy Petru?
No, I think we've covered a lot of ground.
Yeah. Cool. And I'd just like to say that the irony is that My Little Pony toys are probably held together by the glue of dead horses. So,
oh my God. Nancy, no.
It's true. But there you go. That's all I'm going to say. Don't cry, Nancy.
Okay, I won't. I'll try not to.
Thank you. I think that's it. I would say goodbye from everyone, but Mark left us and to go and interview Boba Fett, and he's not come back. And for me, I'm a little bit rejected. So yeah, that's it.
Alas,
that's it. This podcast ends not on a roar, but on a whimper. And I guess we'll see everybody next time for the next episode of NOMCAST.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Miss you. Bye.